Well, hello, and we're continuing to work through John's Gospel. We've had the feeding of the 5,000, we've had Jesus walking on water, and now we get into the deep teaching. And today we'll read chapter 6, 22 to, how far shall we go? 22 to 26. Reading from the ESV. On the next day, the crowd that remained on the other side of the sea saw that there had been only one boat there, and that Jesus had not entered the boat with his disciples, but that his disciples had gone away alone. Other boats from Tiberias came near the place where they had eaten the bread after the Lord had given thanks. So when the crowd saw that Jesus was not there, nor his disciples, they themselves got into boats and went to Capernaum to seek Jesus. When they found him on the other side of the sea, they said to him, "Rabbi, when did you come here?" Jesus answered them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, you are seeking me not because you saw signs, but because you ate your fill of loaves." So, one or two interesting things from that. First of all, you've got this stuff at the beginning that they knew Jesus hadn't got in the boat. Then they saw that Jesus was not there, but the disciples. And then found him on the other side and said, "Jesus, how did you get here? Or when did you come here?" Now this is just kind of backing up that Jesus walking on the water was a miracle. It happened. It's not some spiritualization of something, of just some totally ordinary event. Jesus had not got on the boat, and yet he had got to the other side. That's because he walked on the water. But anyway, that's kind of a minor point. The key point is this, that right, the people are chasing after Jesus. They're getting in boats and they're crossing over from Capernaum, seeking Jesus. And then they find him. And then Jesus gives them this interesting answer. Well, as often Jesus does, they ask one question, "When did you get here?" And Jesus gives them an answer which has nothing to do with the question. Or shifts the focus to something completely different. How Jesus got there, in one sense, was irrelevant. Jesus says, "You are seeking me not because you saw signs." Now you might think, well, that is why they're seeking him. He'd done a miracle. He fed 5,000 people plus the women and children with a few loaves and fishes. That is why they're seeking him. See what it says. "You're not seeking me because you saw signs, but because you ate your fill of the loaves." All the people were bothered about was that they got a free meal. They'd been quite happy for Tesco van to roll up, dishing out free pizzas or something. They'd been perfectly happy with that scenario. Why? Because they just wanted the free food. When it says they didn't see a sign, they didn't think, "Oh, he's the Messiah. Let's get to know him as the Messiah." All they wanted was the free food. How they got the free food was irrelevant as far as they were concerned. They just got free food. And we need to be careful that we don't fall the same way. You see, maybe Jesus heals you. Maybe you get miraculous healing of something. Or maybe it's healing where there's been much prayer, but it's done by essentially natural purposes, i.e. doctors looking after you. And you get healed. What do you look at? Just the fact that you've been healed? No, and if God does heal you, we should be grateful. If God does anything for us, we should be grateful and give thanks and appreciate it. But we need to look beyond it. What does it signify? What does it tell us? You see, look at the Israelites when they came out of Egypt. Now, in Egypt, they'd seen God work miraculously on their behalf with all the plagues. You know, you get people these days, various ministries, ministry of teaching ministry, an evangelistic ministry, a prophecy ministry, a healing ministry, or whatever else there is. Perhaps we need someone today with a ministry of plagues. I'm sorry, that's just a trivial comment. Just ignore it if you wish. But they'd seen these miracles. And then they got to the Red Sea. And they saw another miracle. The Egyptian army was behind them. The Red Sea was in front of them. But God parted the waves to let them through. Then stopped parting the waves, and the Egyptians all drowned. Then at various times they saw food provided miraculously. They saw water provided miraculously. And what did they do? They just accepted the food, accepted the water. They had no faith in God. They didn't learn from it. They didn't think, well, God actually cares for us. And we need to be careful with that. That God does things for us, and we see examples of the way He's cared for us, provided for us, looked after us, guided us, whatever else He might have done for us. Don't just accept the guidance, the provision, the rescuing. We need to look behind it or beyond it. There is a God who actively cares for us. You see, the human condition is to live in fear. I think we're on our own. It means we're vulnerable. Anything could go wrong at any time. You've got to look after number one because no one else will. That's human thinking. The way we're meant to be is knowing that we live under the loving and active care of God. And the events which happen in our lives where we see and experience God caring for us, we need to learn from them, not just accept the caring, the provision, whatever it is that God's given to us, but to learn from it about who God is and our relationship with God, or His relationship with us. Amen.